Hi guys, and welcome to T-Rex Space Station. Today I'm joined by two special guests. On my left I've got
Alid.
Thanks. On my right I've got
Phil.
And we're going to talk about 4 underrated Iron Maiden songs. You guys will probably know that I'm a massive Iron Maiden fan. We kind of have been for a long time, right? And I've seen them with Alid live four or five times. And there are some obvious massive Iron Maiden tracks to choose if you're going to ask somebody what are your favourite Maiden songs. But the thing is, because their catalogue is so big, there are also a lot of songs that go under the radar. And so we've tried to pick 4 songs that maybe you might pass over, or that wouldn't be your most obvious choices when you first listen to an album. So we'll start off with number 4. And Alid, would you like to go first?
Okay, my number 4th pick, which is arguably the best song on the list, but seeing as we're talking underratedness, I think it's probably the most overrated of my underrated picks.
Okay.
It's off Seventh Son of a Seventh Son.
Yeah, I'll hold that up for you if you guys can see that. Awesome album artwork on that one.
And it is Only the Good Die Young, which
I knew you were gonna put that on the list.
it's just a really, really brilliant song, but I guess because it's on the end of the album and you've got Infinite Dreams, Can I Play With Madness, Evil That Men Do, I think it is overlooked and really unfairly.
Yeah, I mean, it is probably one of the best Iron Maiden albums. Is this your favourite Maiden album?
I
think so. I think it probably is mine as well. It's such... every single song on this album is really good. And that's the thing about it.
Moonchild's a bit...
Moonchild is probably the weakest one, isn't it? It's probably the weakest one. But you're right, with it being sat there at the end of the album, it's like it could easily just get looked over.
It's a nice pudding though. You finish the album, you're like, oh my god, this is a great song.
It's a beautiful, amazing song, and it's the way this goes. It just starts down, down, down. It's straight into dual harmonies, and I think that's one of the things that I liked about it too. So I'm picking exactly the same.
Oh really?
As you. It's just such a good song. And the thing is, it's got some lyrically, it's really sinister and occult, and Bruce is very menacing in this song, isn't he? And also there's that kind of trilled bass part of the...
Yeah, I think it's one of the... I mean, with Maiden, I like the upbeat tracks, and this is one of the most upbeat, high-tempo, just a balls-out rocker that they've done. But with quality as well. There are some that don't measure up.
Yeah, I suppose on this album you've got some complex songs thematically. Maybe if you look at things like Infinite Dreams, is probably my favourite song on this album. That's got many different things to it. This is really a blaster, but it's a very good blaster.
Yeah.
I completely agree with your choice, Ali.
Good choice. Let's see if the other picks match up.
Shall I keep this album here? You've got more off this album.
I do not know.
No, we can put that one in the pile. All right. So number 3, do you want to go?
Yeah, number 3. It's off Brave New World, if I may. Sorry, it's not off Brave New World. It's off The X Factor. And it's Judgement of Heaven.
Brilliant song.
Yeah, which I think no underrated Maiden list can go by without some Blaze Bayley.
Yeah.
Who, I'm going to say it, better than Bruce. I mean, okay, no. But not as bad as people make out.
You're going to get me completely flamed for that comment. Absolutely destroy me on here now.
No, for the record, definitely not better than Bruce. But must be in a list of underrated Maiden songs. I think off this album, Judgement of Heaven seems to fly under the radar a little bit more, but he can really not only handle vocals, but he's got an element of broodiness that I don't think Bruce has, which he really brings to that song.
So this is the problem. The big problem that Blaze had was that he always gets judged by Bruce Dickinson's standards, so he's not got the range that Bruce Dickinson has, and people slated him for it.
Well, if you listen to him singing Bruce's songs, then it's
bad. The point with this album was, actually, this was written, after Bruce left, and Steve Harris was in quite a dark place, and the songs that he wrote in that period, this is a really dark album compared to some of the other stuff. And he picked a vocalist whose range was lower and that was more brooding and that works excellently well on this album. Yeah, fine, it's not Bruce, and he's probably not as good a vocalist as Bruce, but he's not shit. And the other thing is, he didn't write the songs. This is a Steve Harris album. Like, you're blaming Blaze for not liking this album, but Steve Harris wrote this through and through. Blaze just sang it. And Judgement of Heaven it's a really catchy one, actually, isn't it? It's got really good rhythm, and the chorus is fantastic, and it's actually quite, again, it's quite emotional.
Yeah.
No, for Iron Maiden, this is a very emotional album, and that song definitely rings true. Yeah. So I've got another one from this album, but a bit later on.
Okay.
So for my number 3, can I please have Peace of Mind, Phil? Phil's being a glamorous Maiden assistant here. He's just along for the ride. Another awesome bit of album artwork. You know what I'm going to pick off here, don't you?
No, I don't actually.
I've gone for Sun and Steel.
Sun and Steel, yes.
I could have picked To Tame a Land, but actually that's not that good.
Well, you're not going to go for what's it called? Quest for Fire.
Quest for Fire is such a questionable album.
That's I say underrated. It's poorly rated, but deservedly so.
Yeah, it's funny that we're actually quite a few songs we're picking on this list are ones that are the blasters, the kind of straight up rockers.
Well, I'd say that this Sun and Steel is quite similar to Only the Good Die Young.
Yeah, it's a similar vein because it's in the middle of an album that does have some complex stuff, and it's sandwiched between Quest for Fire and To Tame a Land. It's a straight up, really punky, actually fast rock song, and I think it's absolutely superb. Actually, and you need to have some of those kind of faster, less progressive, maybe less complex songs. And Bruce's vocals on this song are actually really rocky. You know, you killed your first guy at 16. Yeah. It's a taste of some of that harder Bruce vocal that you get later on, actually, in an album that otherwise doesn't necessarily sound like that song. So, yeah, straight up rocker, but a great tune.
That's a good choice, good choice.
Number 2.
Okay, my number 2 is from Brave New World. So there's obviously a selection of underrated songs on here, but I've gone for The Fallen Angel.
Oh, that's an interesting choice. You're going for all the straight up rockers, aren't you?
Well, yeah, for me, that's what's great about Maiden. That it's not the long or the more progressive, because I don't really think it is progressive, or the kind of more atmospheric songs. No, it's a rock band producing, balls out rock music, and that's what I enjoy of Maiden. I enjoy longer progressive things, but I don't think Maiden delivers that for me. But what Maiden does deliver, maybe better than anybody else, is that balls out rocker. So yeah, there's a selection of tunes on the end of here that are more atmospheric, more spacey.
Yeah.
The Thin Line Between Love and Hate, Dream of Mirrors, Out of the Silent Planet.
Yeah.
But I think The Fallen Angel just stands out as almost a more old school Maiden track on the
album.
album.
I don't know who. Does it say who wrote that on the back there? Yeah, It was one that they actually didn't originally. I think it was omitted from some of the Brave New World tour, and then they brought it in for some dates because I think it was obviously one that they wanted to play. And it's actually quite a heavy song, but it's one of those energetic, balls out rocking tunes.
And it's got a brilliantly naff intro to it as well, which is
Jesus Christ,
so good.
That bit is so fucking hard to play as well. I tried to learn that.
Worth it, totally worth it.
Yeah, okay, point taken. Can I have that album, please, for my number 2?
Right, go on.
Not the same one, but it is one that you mentioned, and it's Out of the Silent Planet. Again, probably not one of the songs that when I was first getting into this album that I would have said is the better ones. It was one that came to me a bit later on as I was listening to the songs over and over again. I started to realise that there was a lot more depth to that tune than I'd maybe give it credit for in the beginning. It's one of, I think Bruce has writing credits on maybe about 4 of the songs on this album, so he wasn't on a lot of it. But this is one of the songs that he had a writing credit on, and it kind of shows because it's got a lot of really operatic layered harmonies and vocals, and for a vocal track I think it really stands out with that Out of the Silent Planet, like 2 or 3 layered harmonies there. I love the kind of post-apocalyptic feeling to the lyrics, and it is quite hard, but it's also probably one of the more, it is progressive and more melodic and more operatic, I think, and that's credit to Bruce, really.
Still a great song. I mean, yeah, that as I say, one of 3 that I could have picked off there, really.
And Adrian Smith's sort of trilled guitar leads on the E string, the is a nice little touch. Yeah, very Adrian Smith, that part, yeah.
Good.
Okay, so down to number 1 on the list.
Number 1.
Which one of these 2 albums do you want back now?
I'll have Dance of Death, please.
Ooh, Dance of... Wait, let me guess what you've picked.
Go on then.
You've gone for the all-acoustic Journeyman.
I have not gone for Journeyman, no. I've gone for The Age of Innocence, the one preceding that.
Oh my god. I was thinking about picking that. I listened to the chorus and thought, no.
No, this is a really... I mean, it's a bit of an unusual Maiden song, but I'd say this is the most underrated Maiden song there is.
The chorus is really out of keeping with Maiden.
Yeah.
And it's almost, again, one if you wonder whether Smith had some involvement in it with his 80s.
It's a bit more of a poppy kind of.
So
sound
we
to it.
only get one life.
Yeah, but it is actually still a very heavy song, and the bit I love is when is it the bridge where it kind of goes a bit off time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, it's just such a good song, and that was one that, again, this came out when we were in college, and I hated this when I first heard it because it wasn't the same.
The whole
as,
album.
The classic. It wasn't the same as the classic early '80s Maiden, and I just really thought, oh, come on, this is awful. But listen to this more and more, and The Age of Innocence just becomes more and more of a standout track.
The thing that's actually nice about it is that you've got a lot of dark Maiden songs, you've got a lot of occult Maiden songs and mystical ones. That's just actually a really optimistic, quite. You're singing about the Age of Innocence fading, but it has this nostalgia to it. It almost has a happiness to it, which you don't always hear. Good choice.
Yeah, that's my number one.
I'm not picking a number one off that album.
Okay.
I'm going to go back. It's really interesting. We've actually only picked from 5 albums here. I'm going to go back to the X Factor, and I've picked The Sign of the Cross, which is a song that I rate in my top 5 Iron Maiden songs. I think this album gets a lot of slating because of what we've talked about, the transition to Blaze Bayley and stuff, but I really like the darkness of this album. There's a lot of brooding songs on here. There's a lot of really pessimistic, dark songs about war. And it starts off with a song about the apocalypse, basically. And it's one of Steve Harris's most grandiose progressive songs for me that works really well. And I guess this album might be a tipping point where you came out from, let's admit it, some of the weaker 90s albums where they tried to go hard rock. After Bruce left, Steve went back into and started planning and writing these longer progressive songs, and these 2 albums.
And Virtual 11 was just on the money.
I mean that's unfortunately a problem. But these 2 albums undoubtedly led to the progressive good sides of Brave New World, and going on from there to the other albums. And I think that Sign of the Cross is an example of where that started and works so well. The dual guitar harmonies in it are amazing. The rhythms are amazing, and Blaze Bayley's vocals are perfect for it. I love Bruce Dickinson, but I don't think he could have sung this better than Blaze. He nails it, absolutely nails it. So there we are, our top 4 underrated Iron Maiden songs. Maybe you guys could let us know in the comments below what your picks would be, and if you say Run to the Hills, then I'm going to thumb you down. Take care, guys. We'll speak to you all soon. Thumbs up would be nicer.
What was the bad stuff that Steve Harris was going through while writing the X Factor?